Welcome to my talk, Gridlock, the dual-edged sword of EV and solar APIs in grid security. Fair warning, this talk is PG-17, which means I love saying fuck and shit. So if you're not comfortable with that, can you please raise your hand? Everyone's okay with that? Really? Thank you for that. That's me. I'm Vangelis Stykas. I'm the CTO at a penetration testing firm which specializes in green energy, energy renewable, and everything else, EV and PV penetration testing. What? Okay. That's me. I'm Vangelis Stykas. I'm the CTO of a penetration testing firm called Atropos. We're testing mainly EVs and PVs. My research interest is mainly APIs for IoT, and for the past couple of years, malware, ransomware, and other things that might get me killed. But yeah, that's just me. So, this talk is about solar panels. I'm going to be honest, I have no idea how they work. I'm not a solar panel specialist. I'm an API specialist. This talk is about APIs. If you thought that you're going to see any kind of solar shit or, I don't know, firmware things, you're on the wrong talk. Sorry about that. Quick intro, there are two kinds of installations of solar panel. The one is home panels, which is from 1 kilowatt to 10 kilowatts, and then there are plants, which is from 200 kilowatts to 20 megawatts. The home are usually on roof, and they're integrated there. The plants are maximizing profit and minimizing cost because, yeah, capitalism and shit. So. The solar market, it has several big players. They're mainly Chinese. Lots, and I mean lots of white label providers that provide generic implementation. We're going to see that they're really rushing to market, and they have over 30 million current installations the past week that I checked. Yeah, you can see that we are moving towards solar panels, so more and more solar panel energy is being used. Yeah, that's what a solar panel is. It consists of many cells, blah, 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 things I don't understand, things that if you understand, I'm really happy with you because you are really smart. But do you know what that is? So that's Fortnite. My older son is playing Fortnite and he loves it. And apparently everyone who wins him either is a cheater or, I don't know, a hacker. And once upon a time, there was a guy, Tesla 2004, that kinda kicked his ass. So we went after him for no apparent reason, other than me being petty. So what's the solar market? So the solar market generates more than 1 terawatt globally. 1 terawatt is what, a little bit less than what the States, the USA, is consuming every day. It's cheaper to produce, it has low maintenance, and it can run unsupervised. But as it is expensive to store, it is easier to throw it to the grid, which, yeah, I don't know if you understand what they're doing. They are just throwing and depending on stuff that is not there every day. I'm introducing you a horror scenario. The horror scenario was a scenario that was built by a really smart guy that I cannot really pronounce his name because it has too many syllables. Sorry about that, Marcus. I'm going to read it. It's the only wall of text that I'm going to read. The power grid needs to maintain a constant balance between supply or power. Its supply exceeds demands. There is, however, a limit to these countermeasures. So they're doing some countermeasures. We need to maintain balance, but especially in Europe, power grids are in their wind, which means that nations are constantly exporting and importing power to each other, and power grid regulators have made agreements, blah, blah, blah. What that means is that if you take down Germany, you're probably going to take down France, you're probably going to take down Spain, probably the whole continent. So, yeah, that doesn't sound good to pretty much anyone. This is a practical solar power supply during the eclipse in Germany and how it was theoretically proven with some math I don't really understand that if you take down enough solar panels, you are going to take down the power grid for enough time. Again, mathematical models. I'm a simpleton. I don't understand what they're doing, but it says that at least Germany and France, for as far as I know, cover 35 to 50% of its power using only PV installations, which means if you take them down, they would have huge problems. Horror scenario had several CVs on one inverter, SMA. They chain them for RCE. They RCE on those devices, and they interfere with the devices to destabilize the grid. What we are going to see today, we are going to see horror scenario on steroids. Unfortunately, we're not going to get any CVs because everything is going to be done with APIs. Cloud doesn't give you any CVs, you know that. We don't need any physical access. We don't need to be nearby. We can be in our beach house in Greece while hacking PVs. We could brick and match. We're inverter agnostic because we are just using the cloud, and we're looking at more or less a little bit over 500 gigawatt hours. Quick intro on my tool set: DIRSearch, BurbSuit, JADX decompiler, APK Lab.io, which unfortunately is no longer working. One small droplet on DigitalOcean, Sodan.io, so that I could find more people, and basic web application penetration testing. Steps that I followed. I tried to find the demo account. If I couldn't find the demo account, I'd register a new account. I would find obvious, and I mean really obvious, web issues. I'd try to control devices by exploiting those obvious issues. And I would really want to hack Tesla 2004 because he kicked my son's Fortnite. My results: SolarMan, SunSync, Solax, Growat, Ingecon, Foxes, everyone, platform admin. SolarMan, I couldn't upgrade firmware. The other thing is, I don't know who of you are a researcher in here, but you're going to get a lot of those ads. So if you are researching for PVs, you're going to get a lot of PV ads. If you are researching for, I don't know, sex toys, you're going to get a lot of ads for sex toys. And this goes to all your house, so yeah, not a great thing. The disclosure was a train wreck. I have been trying for the past 3.5 years to disclose. Only 1.5 vendor responded and acted on the disclosure. The disclosure had everything that they needed to do. I tried really, really hard to get any reaction. I emailed, I Twittered, I called them on their phone. I couldn't do anything else other than drive there and talk to them, but that's not feasible, I guess. Okay. The responses: SolarMan fixed in 5 days. SunSync responded after 3 years. It's no longer no response. After my OWASP talk, they did respond and try to fix it. Solax auto-responded. They responded to Twitter DMs, and then they went well. Growat asked me where I'm from, because that makes sense. And Ingecon didn't do anything. So I know you're here for the 0 days. I'm not legally allowed to release the 0 days, but I can talk about them, and if you have common sense, you can find pretty much everything. What's the plan? I really want them to fix it, really. I just want to act on it and fix it. I want to prove that you can control gigawatts of power effectively, destabilizing country power grids, help avoiding global outages, and I don't know, make the whole world a safer place, I guess. What did I find? IDOR, RCE, broken authentication, broken authorization, IDOR, IDOR, IDOR. What did I get? Lots, and I mean lots, I mean couple of tens of millions of personal data, access to administrative accounts and panel, ways to manipulate and break panels, access to internal networks. You can see how many gigawatts you could control from their panels. I'm not going to list them. And yeah, I know there are more clouds, but I couldn't hack some of them. And also my wife didn't allow me to buy any more inverters because, I don't know, reasons. SolarMan. pretty huge player, either on the user add functionality. I could add a user with any privilege on any group. Groups and organizations were consecutive integers, which means I could pretty much add the user to every group with admin privileges. What did I get? Full functionality, potential GDPR violation. I love that I should say potential because I didn't get it, but this was GDPR violation with leaking user and company data, information on plants and power generated. Really good response. They fixed it in 5 days. They chased for verification, so all in all, good for them. Sunsync is probably one of the biggest players. You don't know them because they're white label, so yeah, you might, if you have a PV, you might have this backend, but with another label in front. And there are issues where there was missing the whole point of authorization altogether. If you're taking pictures, take that picture because you're going to see that slide a lot for a lot of platforms. Full functionality of the application, again, potential GDPR violation because we are not violating the GDPR. Information on plans, interact with the plans, firmware update, because who doesn't want to firmware update on everyone. Backdoor to the network, platform admin. That's all the gateways. You can see we're looking at 500,000 gateways. And that's all the firmwares. So you could just upload the firmware and do whatever you want with that. The disclosure, but I want to say that after my OWASP talk, their CISO reached out and he was pretty furious that my emails, phones and everything else didn't reach to him. He was pretty cool. They said they fixed it. They did not. I reached out last week and told them that I'm going to say that, and he said, no, we fixed them, so yeah. You do what you want with that information. Growat is probably the biggest, and I mean the biggest player in there. I wasn't allowed to buy a Growat device because it was like 5K, and my wife told me that you're not allowed to spend 5K for personal research. So I had to Google some serials, and then me being me, I'm doing that. I don't need it, I don't need it. I find some broken one for 200 euros, so I bought it, and then I had full functionality on everything. What was the vulnerability? I don't know, pretty much everything. They didn't check anything. So full functionality of the application, potential GDPR violation, interact with the plans, firmware update on gateway, backdoor to the network, platform admin. All in all, you know, terrible shit. How did the disclosure go? Dear customer, due to the spring festive holidays, we can't reply in time. Thanks for your understanding. That was January 26. Of 2022. They do have a lot of spring festive holidays in China, I guess. Would you please advise which country you're from? Because it makes sense. If I'm from Greece, they shouldn't fix it. But if I'm from, I don't know, the States, it should. And then, while I was researching, I also found that. 3 years later, Growat vulnerability disclosure policy. Growat takes product security very seriously and is committed to protecting our users and their data. You know what? Fuck off, Growat. Grow a pair, respond to the disclosure emails, and do something. They're the same thing. They didn't respond. They can go do a thing. I don't know. Solax is the 5th bigger or 4th there in the 5th, one of the 5 biggest providers in there. They were pretty good, and I mean pretty good. They had only one IDOR, but that IDOR was really, really good. So when you were editing your user, you were also passing your user level. So when you see user level user, you usually end up writing, I don't know, user level administrator, user level super administrator, or user level root. So remember that slide? full functionality, potential GDPR violation, information, interact with the plants, firmware update, backdoor to the network, platform admin. You're going to see it a little bit more. Sorry about that. Sorry for repeating, but they're all shit. Yeah, that's 21,000 pages of installations. You can do the multiplication. That's a lot, and I mean a lot of devices. That's some EV chargers that they're still not there, but you can see the demo in there because I'm admin, as I said. Thank you for conducting Solac's cloud support. We are extremely busy at the moment, and that moment has taken them 3 years. They're going to respond at me. Then I was starting calling. They didn't answer my calls. Finally, I just tweeted because it's Twitter, not X. Fuck Elon Musk. And I just tweeted, can someone tell me what I should do with Solax? Then they said that. So is there a problem with that? Can you tell us what the issue is? I told them, yeah, I sent an email to that, and that. Let me check. That was their answer. If you can see, I don't know if it's possible, that's 2023. So they're either checking really hard or they're just ignoring me. Again, Solax, not cool. Injecon, they're smallish, so just 30,000 or 40,000 installation. They're based in Spain or Italy, I don't remember, sorry about that. They were missing the basic concept of authorization. All IDs were consecutive integers, and again, full functionality, potential GDPR, interact with the plants, firmware update, backdoor, platform admin. Sorry for repeating myself, but they're shit. So you can see that we can also see the RAM, the storage, and there is a really, really small button at the top. Can you see it? It says sell. So you can just click on there and get a sell on each device. Again, you can also do, I don't know, reports, stop it, and you could also disable all their protections, which means that if you were someone who wants to do harm, you could make that thing be on fire. You could literally burn shit up remotely. Does anyone want to guess how the disclosure went? I called them, and they just dropped the phone on me. When I said I want to do a vulnerability disclosure, I just heard the toot, toot, toot. They could also say fuck you, but okay. Foxes is the last one. These have only been around my disclosure for 6 months, so yeah, it's way above my 90 days, but yeah, still not good. They were pretty good too. They had only one issue. Their password reset was not that good, so they had, I don't know, most of the Chinese companies nowadays have a password reset that says, we send you a 4-digit PIN. That PIN was brute forceable, and the user ID was consecutive integers, which means you could pretty much reset everyone's password with a Python script with for loop. Same thing, sorry about that. Full functionality, YADA, interact, firmware update, backdoor to the network, platform admin, you name it, they have it. Again, anyone want to guess the disclosure? So enough with the photovoltaic. Let's go to EV chargers. Just a reminder, we are not after the power grid, we're after a guy who is named Tesla 2004. He probably doesn't own a panel, but he or his mom has a Tesla. So let's go after some EV chargers, right? Project EV, 2,000 installation in the UK. Growatt based again, Department of Transport approved, that's in the UK. Growatt and Shenzhen are China-based companies. Can you see the issue in this request? Anyone? No, it's not an either. You would wish it was an either. There is no authentication at all. So you were authenticating on the application, you were saying, yeah, I'm demo with the demo password, and then all the other requests didn't have any kind of authentication, any kind of JWT or cookies. They were just doing, yeah, he said he was that, let's go with our lives. Fully lacking authentication, check for a valid combination only once on login. Charger IDs were consecutive numbers, so it could be easily, and I mean really easily, brute forced. Yeah. Full functionality, lock and lock, remote, backdoor, break all the devices, platform admin. Disclosure. Oh, my lovely disclosure. Did not respond for weeks, only responded when I had to reach out to BBC, eventually fixed after a failed first attempt. You really don't want to have to resend the message and say, yeah, you know that fix? That's not actually a fix, so you have to try harder. They have a stateless login, or whatever the fuck that means. I'm not going to test it anymore. Also, do you remember the Growat PV? They have the same thing, they just fix it for the EV. I don't know why. I don't know. EV box, pretty big on the market. They have around 400,000 charging points. They're based in Amsterdam. They were acquired by Engie. They were really, really, really good. They had a pretty solid API. Wanna guess? Let's play a guess game. What's the issue in here? No one? Come on. It says, when you update your user, you're also passing your role. Why would I pass my role? So let's try admin, account owner, and tenant admin, because I also want the fucking server. I just don't want only the EV chargers, which means I had access to pretty much everything. Total compromise of everything, potential GDPR violation, full admin functionality, which means I could give money, I could charge back, I could do financial shits. Like, it was really, really bad. But responded in just 2 hours. They fixed it in 24 hours, double checked that everything was fixed. Excellent response. I'm happy when I see this kind of responses. Oh, my lovely wallbox. I don't know how many of you are familiar with EVs. I personally got that banned in the UK, so they probably hate me. So 200,000 users, they're based in Barcelona, merged with Kensington, and their aim to raise 300 million USD. Probably not because they're banned now. They had a second level IDOR. Anything in the request body was not validated. I had found 4 different instances on this in the API, which means I found something, they fixed it, then I went to something else and said, fix that too. And then I said, I'm not doing a free penetration test for you. Fix your shit, check your proper authentication. Total control over all chargers, lock and lock. No way to update firmware, potential GDPR violation, unfortunately no platform admin. So they responded the next day, they fixed in a couple of days, they re-engaged after a month, I found the second issue. They fixed it in a couple of days again, then they wanted to engage to provide the site of their new hardware platform, which meant I had to find that I had to sign an NDA and not talk about it, which, no thanks, I don't do NDAs. And then, as I said, charger pulled amid warnings, hackers could attack national grid. So yeah, we're getting there. Kudos to the UK government. I think that's the last of the private ones. EU charger, EU hub, it was the first charger in the UK. It had a lot, and I mean a lot of teething problems. They had around 15,000 users estimated, and it's a fucking Raspberry Pi, which can be easily rooted. I had no bootloader security, and I was able to recover, not only me, my good friend, who is now not with us, Mike Polidoro, the full source code and I mean 2 Python scripts because that was their source code, with hard-coded credentials and full documentation. Okay, let me show you something in there. FTP user, FTP pass, FTP. Secret key, file key, AppSec, which means you could potentially full decryption, total control, you could mimic the server communication, you can make the devices be part of a botnet, potential GDPR violation, credentials leakage, and platform admin. They tried. I'm not going to be bad with them. They responded in a timely fashion. They worked hard into reworking pretty much everything. And then they introduced their new and improved EO Mini, which was still a Raspberry Pi. So all in all, they tried at least. My personal opinion, take it with a pinch of salt because I'm not a hardware expert. Raspberry Pi are valid prototyping device, but not good to put into production. They're easily extracted all their data. They're easily routable, and there's no secure bootloader. Last one, and we should be off. Public chargers. I have looked after ChargePoint, which is an American electric vehicle. It's one of the top 3 public chargers providers in the world. A good friend told me that when someone says he's one of the top 3, he's the 3rd. They went public in 2021, and they had a publicly exposed, unauthenticated GraphQL endpoint with introspection enabled. It was potentially leaking their full schema, and no authentication parameters were to be seen. So you could pretty much do whatever you want, but CMA and crime alert. API research is really tricky on that. Never ever interact with a device that you don't own. If you mistakenly do it, notify the vendor immediately and stop doing whatever you are doing because you don't want to end up in jail. At least I don't want to end up in jail. They responded in an hour. They fixed it in the same day. Excellent response. They acknowledged the issue. I could have checked further, but as I said, my goal is to stay outside of prison. So, yeah, that was probably a wise choice. For your takeaways, go with a provider that will act on problems, so no random white labels. Try to isolate IoT devices on their own VLANs. Vulnerabilities will happen, and expect them to happen. Also, just a heads up, if your device will be on fire, your private VLAN will not really help. So take that under consideration. And for those being vendors, know that authorization is not equal to authentication. Push to market cannot always be the excuse. I understand that you have to rush to market because you are a startup, but after you are in the market for 5 years, you have to secure your seat or you will end up in one of your really bad lists. And pen test your things. Not by me, by anyone. Do try to secure yourself. That was me. Thank you.